Welcome to the Payday with Rayray podcast, hosted by yours truly, Rachel Bell. I'm here to make your life easier as an entrepreneur and teach you everything I've learned about building multiple seven-figure online businesses. And on this podcast, I'll be giving you my best advice, trainings, and mindset shifts so you can grow your business and, most importantly, make every day your payday. Welcome back to Payday with Rayray, babies. How you doing out there? Are you happy? Are you healthy? Are you thriving? Hope so. Okay, sorry. I am in a silly ass mood right now because I am about to sit down with my BFF and lead coach, Melanie Morton, who is just so near and dear to my heart. And you have probably seen her on Instagram stories if you've been following me for 0.5 seconds. She is one of my favorite things in my life. And I will hope that by the end of this podcast episode, you'll see exactly why. I'm going to ask her some questions that I know you guys have been so curious about and that I would love to hear if I was in your position, making big moves in your business and just nervous about doing it on your own. Melanie has an amazing story that, she's been through the ringer herself. She's a mom. She has a family of 4 and it's a mom of 2, and she just holds it down like no other. So very excited for you to learn from her. Before we dive into the interview and the episode, what I want to let you guys know is that OCA, Online Coach Accelerator, my 90-day business mentorship program for online coaches, is open for enrollment. Da, 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 da. Thanks for that backup, Mel.
So well.
You're the best. So yeah, we're super excited about it because we are enrolling new students into the program. And if you know anything about OCA, you know that it is the #1 business mentorship program for online coaches who want to hit those 10K months, find the right clients online, learn how to build a profitable and engaged social media audience, and get their hands held the whole time by very loving and supportive people, which I personally trained to be coaches inside of the program. So a couple things we offer for support and accountability because we know it's tough out there being an entrepreneur. We offer weekly Q&A calls, and Melanie is the person who facilitates that at this time inside of OCA. She is so amazing at that, and she's been working with me for a long time now. I think we just celebrated our 1-year anniversary in January.
1 year.
Yeah, that was such a fun night. We just went out, we partied, we celebrated each other, we said some nice things to one another, and it was epic. Yeah. So yeah. So inside of OCA, we offer the weekly Q&A calls. We also offer daily messaging support. So if you've ever been in the midst of a project or writing a post and you're like, fuck, I feel so alone, I don't know what I'm doing, you can just message us and say, yo, is my post good? Does it suck? Please tell me. And we'll be there to tell you every single day, except for Sundays, because everyone needs a day off, right?
You need a day of rest.
Yeah, have a day of rest, relax for everyone, including us. And inside of OCA, we also offer your own personal accountability coach. And this person is responsible for keeping you on track. So a lot of people wonder, okay, I'm really busy. I have 1,200 jobs. I have 1,200 children. I have 1,200 cats. Am I going to have time to implement OCA? And am I going to be really able to maximize my investment? And that's a really awesome question because as much as anyone else know, life can get in the way. And if we don't have the accountability and the support to stay consistent, Lord knows what we're going to get done. Probably nothing, right? And so that's why we offer the personal accountability coach who checks in with you every single week to move you along the modules. I think that's everything. I think our promo for OCA is officially done. If you want to learn more, you want to sign up and get on a call. This is an application process, and this is an application process because we don't accept just anyone into the program. We want to make sure that if you're signing up for OCA, you are a perfect fit. And so we have you fill out an in-depth application, just learning more about your business, where you're at and what you want to create. And then we go through a 30-minute interview call. And Melanie is actually the one doing some of these interview calls as well this month. So if you want to chat with her on the phone, you can just go to www.onlinecoachaccelerator.com, fill out the application, and hit us up on Instagram when you are done. Okay, now that I'm fully out of breath, I'm really glad to pass the mic over to my bestie and the apple of my eye, my favorite coworker, my beautiful just lead coach, Melanie Morton. Let me tell you a little bit about this woman. She has, since graduating OCA herself, well, that's how we met. We met through you joining my program back when it was in its infancy. And it only had 4 modules, and it was really beautifully small. And Melanie signed up, and I'll tell you why she signed up and a reason. She'll be able to give you background on her story. But Since graduating OCA, not only has she ascended through the ranks of my company and become lead coach for the students inside of Online Coach Accelerator, she has also made $193,000 in her own coaching business since graduating. She is, like I said, a mom of 2. She has a family of 4. She's the sole provider for that situation. And my heart goes out to her, and I respect her so much I don't know why I'm speaking in third person. You're right in front of me. I respect you so much because I met you as a student, and your work ethic and your attention to just what you really wanted to create in the world was so moving. And I knew that you were just so connected to your vision and what you wanted to provide for your family. To watch you actually go through and do all of it and achieve all of it has been the most rewarding experience I could ever hope for as a coach. And that's, I think, why we all get into the game, because we want to watch our clients transform and ascend and become who they're really meant to be. So Melanie has given me the gift of seeing that happen with her. And yeah, anyway, I'm in love with her, clearly. But we have an interesting situation. We work together. I've mentored her before. She teaches me a lot about life, just watching her be a mother and go about her life and being an amazing human being. We've also gone to Post Malone concerts together. We have the same sense of humor. So things are getting weird, and they probably will continue to get even weirder during this podcast episode. And Melanie has some quirks that I want to just tell you about, because without these quirks, you will not understand her as a person. Melanie loves listening to true crime podcasts.
Love it.
Melanie's always telling me to lock my door at night. And then be aware. And Melanie also bakes the most amazing muffins. Like whenever we go to a social gathering or something, she's always bringing a Tupperware full of muffins. And she has this portable Tupperware thing that she brings around everywhere that's floppy, and it fits into her purse. And she always has like 4 muffins on her.
I brought it to Post Malone.
That's right. I forgot about
And I threw out the Tupperware. I feel like it's just like a mom thing.
Exactly. And you do that so well, like literally down to the detail of Melanie. If I have a protein bar or something, she'll just open it for me and fold it down so I can eat it. And this introduction wouldn't be complete without also addressing Melanie's sense of style and her fashion sense.
Oh, damn.
I really like it. I think it's amazing. And I'm always asking Melanie, hey, Melanie, what you got on? And she's like, don't worry about it, sweetheart. It's from Target. And she finds all the best stuff at Target. I think that will pretty much explain you in a nutshell, like as who I know Melanie to be. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I just wanted to now formally say thank you for being on the podcast, Melanie. So excited to dive into this with you. And yeah, how you feeling?
Rachel, I'm going to be honest. I'm feeling good about this podcast.
Yes.
I'm super stoked.
Awesome. I'm also stoked. And I feel like we're on Good Morning America all of a sudden, the way that you answered that question.
I know.
So let's talk about your story and your background and where you come from. So obviously, as I said, me and Melanie met inside of OCA when she was a student, and I got the chance to mentor her one-on-one through that program and actually talk to her every single week about her business. And we bonded over that. And then eventually I brought her in. But tell us a little bit about your story before OCA, Melanie, and what you were dealing with in your coaching business and or lack thereof. And yeah, just take us all the way back to the beginning, because you have a crazy, intense story about where you started, what you tried, what didn't work, all that stuff. So take us way back.
What's up, everyone? First of all, thanks for having me on this podcast with you. I feel so honored. I feel like I'm behind the scenes in OCA. So it's nice to be on here with you guys talking to our audience, our OCA lovers.
So yeah, you OCA lovers, you Payday babies, listen up, because Melanie has something to say.
All right, guys. So thank you so much, Rachel, for having me here. I love you so much. And that was the best intro I've ever gotten anywhere. So that just gave me all the feels. I feel so honored to be here, guys. I love Rachel so much, not only as our fearless leader, but also as one of my best friends. So we can dive into more of that dynamic later. But thanks for having me on. So my story, let's get to it. It all started when I was I was 21 and I was waitressing. And then I was I really want to get a career in fitness. I want to be a personal trainer. I want to do this. It's going to be amazing. So I had my interview at Equinox in downtown Chicago.
Ooh, girl.
Yeah, I know, right? I was like, this is a big girl job. I'm going to make so much money. It's going to be amazing. I get to like work out for a living. Awesome. And so I get hired at Equinox, and it's there that I met this guy named AJ. And I just like instantly fell in love with him. So yeah, I met AJ and instantly fell in love with this guy. And then I had a birthday. So I just turned 22 and I started dating AJ. And 2 weeks later, I found out that I was pregnant with this guy that I just met like a few months ago when I started a new job. And at the time I was still living with my parents and I had no idea what I was getting myself into. But we both decided like, okay, we're going to try to make this work. And we got married and had Harlan. So Harlan is my now 6-year-old. So I had him when I was 22. And gosh, AJ was a baby too. He was like 26 years old. Oh my gosh, such a baby. And so eventually, like I worked at Equinox up until I was like 9 months pregnant. And then me and AJ both quit and we started our own personal training business. So we were renting space in downtown Chicago. And I just remember like teaching group fitness classes and I was just so miserable. Like there's so much like time and energy put in. So we did that for a while. And then I got pregnant again. I had Wilder. I wasn't really personal training anymore. I would like teach some classes here and there, but I just started to feel really like unfulfilled in my life. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm 25. I have these 2 kids. Like, what's my purpose? Mm-hmm. I felt like I was going through like a quarter life crisis. I was just like, what the fuck? Why am I here? What am I going to do with my life? I'm so young. Like, what do I do?
So just to dive deeper into that, to give you guys context, because I know for a fact, so many people in my community and in our community is like in that exact same position where they're in a huge career transition and they're like, oh, I thought this was going to fulfill me. Or maybe I got myself in a lot of student debt doing this thing. And then I learned it's not what I want to do. And I want to be a coach now. And you're in the middle of this huge transition and life doesn't seem to be on your side. Like you had these 2 kids, you were unprepared. And tell us a little bit about the background of what the studio was like the grind there. And was it profitable? Were you guys living well? Was it worth it to keep doing that? Or what was the situation behind the scenes there?
No. So like our in-person business, it would have like really great months. So it was just like super inconsistent. And it was so much time for just like what we were getting, like what we were being compensated. And around that time, that's like when AJ, I didn't even know that you could hire like a business mentor, but AJ was like just super involved in like the mentor space for like years. And so he started hiring business mentors to help him with his in-person training business. And the first one that he hired was really awesome. And it like really changed his business. And we had like amazing months. And then after like 6 months of like good, like we were comfortable, we were living in downtown Chicago. Like I wasn't working really. I was like teaching a little bit here and there, but he was like our sole provider. And we were comfortable. And then like after 6 months of like doing that, something just like stopped and like people weren't coming in. There was no new clients. Like we didn't really know what to do. So we hired another mentor and spent like $10K that we didn't have. Like we didn't have $10K to spend on a mentor, but we were just like, okay, we have to invest.
Yeah. So when you say you didn't have the money, because I totally relate to that. I know what that means because I've made investments that I technically didn't have the money in my bank account, but I took out lines of credit. Like I was just going for it. Like, how did you come up with that investment when you didn't have it with the 10K?
When AJ says he's going to do something, he just does it. So I knew that, he would work his butt off to be successful. But yeah, we just like were putting things on credit cards and we just knew that like it would pay off later and we could like settle it all later. This mentor that he hired really didn't live up to what they said that they were going to deliver. Like the services just weren't provided. So it wasn't a great investment and we ended up losing a lot of money. And at that same time, when that was all happening, AJ's business was not doing well. Like our business was not doing well. It was basically failing. Like there was like no money coming in. And we had all of these like huge goals of like moving to California and, buying a rental property and like just all of these things. And like, we just couldn't get our head above water. It was miserable. Like, oh, we were just like so uncomfortable. And I just felt like there was like so much that had to be done in order to like get where we needed to be. And I'm just like, fuck, like this is going to be so fucking hard.
Did you know where to start? Like you knew that there's a lot of work here, but it didn't sound like, from what I gather and what I hear so much from the community again, and you guys who write in, like asking questions to cover on the podcast, you're like, how do I find clients? I don't know how to find them. Like, where are they? And it sounds like in your in-person business, you're kind of like waiting, hoping that they'll find you, when in reality, you don't know how to find them. Yeah. So it must have been so stressful to not know what the problem really was, and also be tanking in terms of finances, which affect everything else, and being able to provide for your family and your relationship. So for those of you listening, like I'm sure that someone out there resonates and is like, oh my God, that's me. So thank you for speaking to that.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, I mean, I'm sure so many other people can relate to just feeling like, fuck, like, I mean, you're literally like sinking. We had no idea what to do. We didn't have like any systems or anything. I felt just like helpless. So it was just really stressful. But I was like, I always just need guidance. Like if I can get the right guidance, I'm like, I'll do whatever you tell me to do. I just need you to like give me that permission and like let me do that.
Yeah, dude. So many people have that exact same like mindset. They're just wanting the blueprint. And like I was one of these people that would say, just tell me what to do and I'll do it. I know how to work hard. I know I'm smart. I just don't know what things to do and in what order to do them. And that was, I think, what you brought up on the call when we were doing a sales call for Melanie, and we were enrolling her into OCA and listening to all of her problems and what she wanted to, build instead. And we were like, I think OCA would be a great fit for you. Want in? And she said yes, and this has to work for me. I remember specifically you said that, and my business partner at the time, Ross, said to me, I just got off the phone with this chick, Melanie, and she said it has to work. And I was like, oh, no pressure. Ooh. But I had this confidence in you that you could do it just after listening to your sales call and just being so, okay, this person is like me. They're ready to work hard. They just need the blueprint. And it just seems to be true. Like every time you say to yourself, I'm ready for this, I just need to be told what to do, and I'm totally committed. Otherwise, I'm ready to burn the bridges and just get the shit done. Magic happens. So I'm really glad that was your case too.
Oh yeah. I just felt like I needed to almost like release trust and like trust someone else. Then all of a sudden I was getting ready for the day and I was listening to a podcast and I was like, oh, this girl, Rachel Bell's on it. And I looked you up on Instagram. You had like,
this is such a full circle moment because now you're on the podcast.
I know. Ooh. Isn't that crazy? But I looked you up on Instagram and you had like 6,000 followers at the time. And I was like, who is this girl? Like, what's she talking about? Everything that you said on this podcast, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is what I want to do. Like everything. I want to work from anywhere. I want to build a 6-figure business. I want like, how is this actually possible? Like, how can I get clients, So what happened next? What was your decision on looking at this chick, 6,000 followers on Instagram, just another business coach? Did you have any hesitation in signing up for OCA and making that your next move? And if so, like what was going through your mind? And what ultimately made you decide to trust me after being burnt? So I am not an overthinker, which could sometimes be a problem, according to my husband, because I jump into things without overthinking. And in some instances, I probably should think about things a little bit more. But I don't. And thankfully, AJ does. So he balances us out a lot. But I was so set. When I get my mind set on something, I just need to try it. And if it doesn't work, then at least I know, like, okay, wasn't my path to take. Didn't work out. But I just knew I needed to try. And I knew I still needed guidance. Even though I was burned, I was like, okay, there has to be someone good out there. And I just vibed with you. I heard you and I just like vibed with you. I feel like we vibed like since the beginning.
You should see the look on Melanie's face right now. She's looking at me like I'm the cutest dog in the world.
She is. I felt like a connection with you before we even spoke. So I heard you on the podcast, looked you up on Instagram, and you were enrolling around that time. Like it was perfect timing. And I reached out to one of your past, always do this, like reach out to the past. That's what I should have done before, guys, but I didn't. So always reach out to other students. So I reached out to another student, and she had nothing but great things to say about working with you guys. So it was divine timing because you guys were enrolling for, I think I did your second round, which is crazy. So I signed up for a call, and I remember I had my call with Ross. So I was like, okay, I know that I need help and I feel really good. Like I really trusted my gut. So before the call, I already knew that like I had to do it. So I remember I had my call and I said all of my goals. Like my first goal was make $10K a month. My second goal was to move my family to California. I remember saying these things out loud and not thinking that it was possible. I even asked him, I was like, man, do you really like think that I can actually make $10,000 a month? And he was like, yeah, dude. He was so confident. So I was like, okay, I just need to run this by AJ and I'm going to do it. Like I'm going to find a way to do it. I remember because mine and AJ, our goal literally since the beginning of our relationship was to move to California. We just really wanted to get out of Chicago. So we would vacation in California all the time. And our favorite place was Manhattan Beach. Like, oh, my favorite place. It is heaven. Like I love Manhattan Beach. And I remember I got my temporary money back on my credit card and I like looked at my email and I emailed Ross and I was like, I have the money. How do I pay you? And I was a yes. Like of course, like I came back. I was like, how can I pay you guys? Help me. Like, what could I do? I sent over the money and I paid. I was so happy. We were in the hotel and I just like laid back on the bed. Like I felt such a weight off my shoulders.
What's interesting is that I find that when people make an investment in OCA or something like OCA, when I personally make an investment that feels like a full body, it is the right decision. Maybe it's not the easy decision. Like it definitely feels scary, but it also feels exciting. Like you said, it feels right. And when your heart knows that something is right and your gut knows that something is right, and the mind is still chattering and being like, oh, what if we lose everything? Holy shit, what have you done? Oh my God. When you listen to the heart and the gut and it's like, yep, this is the right choice. It's not the easy choice, but it's the right choice. It's like a relief. And like you said, it's like investing trust into someone else and actually having someone else to rely on for advice. Because if you want to learn anything in life, we rely on so many people to learn those things. Think about school. We rely on our teachers to set us up for life. We rely on professors to teach us what we need to know in order to be experts. We rely on our mothers and fathers to raise us when we're young. We need to rely on other people to get around in life. So it makes sense that you felt so relieved. And what I want to dive into next, because the next 90 days obviously were a blur for both of us. And it was so much building and sprinting and advice and transformation. On the other side of that, I remember when you hit me up and you sent me a message and you were like, I can't believe this is real life. I made 1K 2 days ago, 1K yesterday, 2K today, 1K tomorrow. Like it was an insane transformation from when you first joined and you were questioning whether or not this could even be your life and whether or not you could move to California. And now looking at you in front of me, you live here in California, you vacation up to Manhattan Beach whenever you want now. It's just a 2-hour drive away. And you've brought your whole family with you. And you've done this all pretty much on your own, like just as Melanie. And of course, you have the most amazing husband and support system, and your family is the best, and they love you so much. And I love you so much, and I would do anything for you. It's like you really made this happen. And that is incredible. And also, another thing I want to give props for watching your journey was it was interesting to work with Melanie, and I became aware that she was my ideal client avatar very, very quickly, because one thing about Melanie is that when she asks a question and you give her an answer. She says, okay, and then does it.
It's very simple.
It seems simple, but it's actually challenging for a lot of people, and myself included sometimes, to take action on the advice that you're given because you overthink it, you overprocess it, and you ask so many questions before you even try it. And sometimes the best way to get feedback and the best way to make progress and gain experience is through doing something and then asking questions later. One of our team members, Nick, he always says this phrase, which I think is so funny. He says, "Get in the car, we're going, don't ask questions, let's fucking go." And it's just the way that we operate in our businesses. We're like, let's do it. We'll learn or we'll win. Either way, it's worthwhile to just dive in and go for it because you only get one life. So that's what I loved about you. And you don't have any excuses. And Melanie has this amazing quote that she tells the students inside of Online Coach Accelerator. And I think you should be the one to say it.
There are no stupid questions, only stupid excuses.
Louder for the people in the back. When she said this, she was in flow state and I dropped her mic on behalf of her. I was like, hold on, guys. Did you hear that? That was literally the truth bomb of the century. And we come up with a lot of excuses. And although a lot of these excuses are valid, like completely valid. For example, Melanie, you had all the excuses in the book. I don't have money. Like that was a very real excuse.
I literally didn't have money.
Yeah. And at certain points in my business, in fact, the most important parts of my business in the beginning, I didn't have money either. And it was very difficult to imagine losing the money that I didn't have and being in debt and like literally owing and being in the red. It was scary. And it's not a good idea on the surface. It's not a good idea logically. It just doesn't make sense. What I was looking past beyond that was the possibility of the ROI and just the learning that I would be able to go through. And I think you looked at the same thing. So I kind of wanted to run Melanie through some excuses that a lot of people will have that are very valid, but just adding your perspective on what's allowed you to move through those things and what kind of self-talk you have when you're moving through these excuses. Because although you said, yeah, I don't overthink things. I just jump in maybe too fast sometimes, but this is what I do. I also think there's a beauty to that where you actually do have some intentional action taking behind that, where you weigh the pros and cons, you weigh the options, and then you just decide based on what's right for you. So a big excuse that will come up when you look to invest in yourself and make this leap into entrepreneurship is, I don't have the money, I don't have the time. Those are the two resources that we feel like we never have enough of, right? Mm-hmm. So when you hear that from you hear that from a friend, and they're looking to take a leap and you know that it's right and they know that it's right, but they're just like, I just don't have the money. I'm really uncomfortable, or I don't think I can make the time. What is your internal response to that? Like unfiltered.
The time thing is easy because you just make the time for whatever is a priority in your life. And that may be getting really honest with yourself and asking yourself what you're actually doing in your life and what's working, what's not working. Because chances are you can find 4 to 5 hours a week in your busy life, because everyone is busy. Everyone's hard is hard. Like, just fucking do it. Like, just find the time. So that's not even an excuse to me because everyone can find the time. And money for me, although I used to have a really horrible money mindset, even around this time, I felt my passion and my grit to do something was so much stronger than the negative money mindset, that whenever it came to anything that I was going to get an ROI from, that was going to improve my business, that was going to help save my family and like get our heads above water, it just like overpowered everything. So I just knew that I would make it work. And I feel like you can always make it work. I don't know. Anytime that I would be negative in my bank account, and I just kept saying to myself, like, this has to work out. It's going to get better. It has to go up from here, because I felt like there was no other way to go but up. Because I was just like, man, universe, like, give me a fucking break. Like, I get knocked up early. I have to get married. I have to move out of my parents' house. my mom's not paying my cell phone bill anymore. Like, I have 2 kids. What am I doing? But my belief in myself was, I guess, just like way stronger than I even thought. Like, fuck, girl. But yeah, it just overpowered everything. And I feel like you can always find the money. You might have to get super resourceful. Like for me, I had to take out 2 credit cards and split it up in order to make it work. And I mean, I had to go further into debt to make it work. But you got to spend money to make money. So I was like, this is what I got to do. It's an investment and I know it's going to work out. I just had such like, even though I might not have like truly believed that, I was like, it's going to work out. It's got to work out.
Stubborn. Yeah. Being stubborn in the vision and in the mission is a key. Like you have to have this unshakable sense of, I'm going to succeed no matter what, no matter who tries to hold me back, no matter what happens, I am destined for this. And there's nothing I'm going to do to give up or that will make me give up. And I think any student that is truly successful inside of OCA has that belief installed in them somehow. And we do our best to install that belief in week 1 and 2 of OCA through the mindset modules. And it's crazy what happens to people during that module because they go through entering OCA with all of those excuses, but then coming out the other side like, what excuses? Excuses who? Who is she? And it's amazing to watch that happen. Now, a deeper excuse that will pop up or a deeper limiting belief, and really, when we're talking about excuses, I am really referring to limiting beliefs. Beliefs are all real, no matter what you believe. If you believe that Santa Claus is real, then he's real. If you believe that Santa Claus isn't real, then he's not real. If you believe that you are capable of doing this entrepreneurship thing, you're right. If you believe that you're not capable of doing this entrepreneurship thing, you're right. And I think that's what people struggle with so much is this lack of belief in themselves, either because of past experience. Like Melanie, you had every reason to not believe in yourself to achieve because in the past you've experienced failure. And you had no tangible evidence that you could be successful because you tried so many different things and so many things were left out of your story just because we, have to fit this into 45 minutes to an hour. But, Melanie was doing a meal prep company. She was, you sold?
Selling mugs.
You were selling mugs.
Shirts. And spicy peppers.
And spicy goddamn peppers. Like, it's bad when you're selling spicy peppers.
I was grinding.
But you had every excuse to not believe in yourself. Really. And like you were still stubborn in this. So I want to know from your perspective of being a lead coach in OCA and watching all the students go through this 90-day sprint, what defines the most successful students? What do you think they believe about themselves? And what do they believe about their potential? And I'm only asking this so that you guys can learn how to adopt this mindset too. So that no matter what you choose, whether it's OCA or something else that's right for you, I totally want you to just be successful and abundant in whatever you choose. So when it comes to OCA in particular, since we see hundreds of people do this all the time, what could you say is the defining factor of the most successful students and what they believe about themselves?
I feel that they think and we think that there's no other option. Like this is it. And it has to work. And you're going to make it work no matter what. And you're just going to show up and do the work and ask the questions and go take action and leave your ego at the door and put that trust into someone else and just believe and know this person knows what they're talking about. They're giving me permission to do this and I'm going to do it. And if that doesn't work, I'm going to go back. I'm going to ask a question. I'm going to ask what else I can do. They're going to tell me what to do and I'm going to do it. And that's going to work. Like I literally just kept saying, she'll know what to do. I'm just going to ask her. Okay, cool. Let me go do that. And it worked. And it's literally not rocket science. Like I just did the work and it works. And like my 2 biggest things were I left my ego at the door. Like I went in knowing I don't know anything about this. I don't know about social media. I didn't know how to like get more followers. What type of content would I post? I had no idea.
Quote the other day that said, if your life doesn't show it, then you don't truly know it. And that is so, like that hits us in the gut when we're coming into a course or program. We're like, I already know this, but if it's not implemented, then you don't really know it if your life doesn't show it. And I think leaving the ego at the door, that's a great point.
Yeah. Just leaving the ego at the door. And also staying out of that victim mindset. And that has always been a thing of mine. I don't mind if they complain. I do mind if they complain and they don't do anything about it. If they actually don't take action to fix it, like, then stop fucking complaining, dude. Like, you're not doing anything to change your circumstance, so you don't have the right to complain about it. And
coming in hot with another quote. Well, you just reminded me of all these, like, really these quotes are values that I base my life around and that I try to install in OCA too. And you know this. This quote comes from Eckhart Tolle, and it is like something around, you can change a situation, leave the situation, or accept the situation. All else is madness. Change, leave, or accept the situation. And I see that in you, and I'm glad that you have that ruthless love for action and relentlessness, and you're willing to hold everyone accountable to that and be like, yes, I get it. It's hard. And you're totally allowed to feel that. And it's true. Like, you can feel that and communicate about it and come to us with whatever emotional stuff you're dealing with. We're here for you. And let's create a plan so that you can get out of this. Let's move the needle. Let's keep going. Let's not just stay here, because that's how we get stuck. Yeah. So I love that you're so ruthless about that. That's one of the things that I think is so powerful about your coaching style.
Well, thank you. And I even remember in OCA, I was getting on all these sales calls before we had gotten to sales. And I was getting on all these sales calls, which was amazing. But I was literally getting no after no after no after no. So I was getting all these no's. And I remember literally lying on my bedroom floor, crying my eyes out, thinking, I'm going to have to get a 9-to-5 job. I'm going to have to work in an office. This is going to suck. Nothing good is happening. And what did I do? I cried it out. And then I went back into little OCA channel, and I told you, I was like, Rachel, I am going crazy. I feel so defeated. What do I do? You literally told me exactly what to do and what steps to take. And I went and did it. Literally the next day, I made my first 1K on the phone. Woo! And it felt so good. I was like, holy fuck, this is actually possible. And me and AJ were so happy. And after that, that was like it. Like, something in me, something was just like, girl, this is possible. It's actually happening. You're doing it. And I feel like that was attracting more and more abundance into my life.
But after you get your first client, you're like, ooh, I did that. I'm going to do it again. So yeah, you got your first client.
I got my first client, and then I got 23 more in OCA. Woo! I left, and I messaged you after, and I was like, dude, how I can't do this. How do I keep up with all this stuff? And you still helped me, obviously. And things just kept getting better. And I kept going back and re-listening and like rewatching and rereading all of my homework, all the stuff. And it just kept redoing, like repeating what I was doing. And it was working.
Amen.
Easy peasy.
Easy peasy lemon squeezy. Melanie makes it look easy for sure. And if you've been watching her style is just so easy breezy, beautiful. And I think that there's something to learn there. There's something to learn about the poise and the consistency and the patience. One of the things you're not talking about a lot, but that I see in you so clearly, is the patience that you have to just work hard and know that the seed you're planting today is a seed that will eventually grow into a big, strong tree. But before it does that, it needs to literally sink its roots into the ground, collect nutrients, information, get nurtured, and then eventually bear fruit. It takes years sometimes for a tree to bear fruit. And you had the patience in you that even though you got those dramatic results within 90 days, I sense that you were willing to work at the same level of enthusiasm and passion for years. And I think that was another make or break factor about you in particular, and that I see in the successful students of OCA, that they have this undeniable patience and belief in themselves. They're like, it doesn't need to happen within 90 days. Ironically, those are the people that actually get the result within 90 days most easily, because they have this like non-attachment, patient style to them. And so it was fun to watch you go through that too. And now, a couple years later after graduating, when did you graduate? Do you remember? 2018, probably in August. Yes. August of 2018. Since then, you've then made over $190,000 in your business, and you are the bossest ass bitch of all of them. And it's amazing to see. So thank you for sharing so openly about your story. And like, you really went deep and vulnerable about what you were feeling in the midst of all that uncertainty and the instability. And I don't think a lot of people talk about that stuff because when they're in it, they feel ashamed. Like, oh, I'm struggling. I feel alone. It's embarrassing to struggle with money. It's embarrassing to not have enough. It's embarrassing to not feel like you're enough. And if anyone's listening who genuinely feels like you're in that spot, I highly recommend that you reach out to Melanie and that you have a conversation with her about it, because she is not only just the best coach, but the best friend that you could ask for. Someone who's truly there. Like, she always tells me every single week we go to lunch or something, or we connect somehow. And she says, oh, I'm meeting up with this OCA student this week, or I'm meeting up with this, or me and this student are going on a walk together. We're going to get coffee. And the way that you put yourself out there to just help people is really, it just speaks to who you are on the inside. So thank you for being so amazing. Thank you. And I love you. But anyway, yeah. Just to top this off, I think it would be fun to play a game. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay.
All right.
Melanie's good at games. So how about this? We are each going to share 3 things about each other that just from watching Instagram and watching the online world, you would not know about us. So for example, I'll share 3 things about Melanie that you wouldn't know about her just by watching her Instagram, and then you'll do the same for me. Are you ready? Mm-hmm. Okay. The 3 things you would not know about Melanie Morton just by looking at her Instagram and stalking her online, looking at her oldest Facebook photos are as follows. Number 1, Melanie, as you have heard in this podcast, has a very soothing voice, except for when she makes a mistake, or she has to rethink something or retract something, or she gets confused. She does this voice and she does it just like this. Wait, what? And it's not even on purpose, I don't think. It's just something that you naturally do. You just go into, we actually had to cut the audio like several times because
wait.
she'd say something and she'd be like, wait,
what?
So that's a funny mannerism she has. Melanie is also, this is the second thing, she is a pun expert. Yep, it's a fact. She has actually a whole entire note on her phone about the puns that she has created just throughout her life. So one thing I highly recommend you do is message her for that list of puns, because you're going to get a really good laugh out of it. She's read it to me like several times now, and I just keep cracking up. She says, I have a new pun on my list. Want to hear it? I'm like, of course. And then the third thing about Melanie that you wouldn't guess from looking just at her social media presence is that she is the humblest person I've ever met. And Melanie is obviously the shit and the bomb diggity. And at the same time, she's so down to earth and balanced. And even before this podcast, if I can share this, she said, oh, I'm a little nervous. I was like, yeah, dude, well, you're a rock star and you show up like that total rock star everywhere you are. And when you're given recognition, when you're given praise, and when the students, I mean, Melanie's responsible for mentoring several students into their first 30K months, like generating $71,000 within that 90-day period. You have mentored so many people into creating the business of their dreams, and you do it like a total rock star. And you also have this incredibly unassuming spirit about you that's just so there just for the people. It's not about the money. It's not about the business at the core of it. You're just there for the people, and you view yourself as just another person. And I really value that about you, because you're looked up to by so many people. And at the same time, you understand that everyone is equal. Everyone is totally on the same path. And it's just really cute and endearing to see you just get so taken aback every time someone gives you praise or a compliment. You're like, what? Really? Me? It's just fun to watch you own it more too. So anyway, that is the 3 facts about Melanie. And now I'm curious to hear the 3 facts you're going to say about me. Hopefully they're not too humiliating. Okay.
Nothing humiliating at all. Dun, dun, dun. So the first thing that mine are a little bit like sappier, I feel like, because so many people on Instagram, honestly, Rachel is exactly how you are on Instagram in real life. Like sometimes people will be like, is she really that? Like, is she really like that? And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, honestly, she's like that. Everything she says is 1000% authentic and 1000% true. If she says something to you, she really means it. And I think that, I mean, of course, now just with social media and this bubble that we live in and all the coaches out there, all the mentors, just this space, there's such a lack of authenticity and actual love. Like, where is the love? I don't know why that came up. I just looked at you. Where is the love? No, honestly, like, where is the love? Honestly, people, how I just don't understand how so many people, you know, coaches sleep at night knowing that they're not delivering like a product or service that is going to help people, you know, like truly authentically help people. So Rachel is as authentic and real as she is on Instagram in real life. Like, she's the exact same person. Another thing that a lot of people don't really get to see is how much attention she pays to people when she's with them. I feel like so many people refer to me as like Mama Mel and like motherly and warm. And I may be that, but Rachel is exactly that as well. Like, whenever you're with her, she just makes you feel so seen when you're around her and really listens and pays such close attention. And I remember, like, you had said that you're like, oh, you're so intuitive. Like, you know what people need, but you are too. Like, you're just always making sure everyone is as comfortable and seen and heard as possible. And honestly, she's like that with the students too. Like, we talk about the students all the time when we're together. And she's always looking you guys up on Instagram, stalking you guys, talking about you guys. And it's just really cool to actually know that you genuinely care. Like, I've never once heard you complain about the work that you do. Like, you genuinely love it and you just keep wanting to make it better. And I think that's something that this space is really lacking. So it's really nice to see that you're the same person behind the scenes, you know? And I just feel really lucky that you're my boss. She's like, honestly, the best boss in the entire world. Like, the best boss.
Boss award.
Best boss award goes to Rachel freaking Bell.
Thanks, dude. I appreciate that.
And the third one is her sense of humor. Rachel Bell is really fucking funny. You don't get to see a lot of what she does on Instagram. You are really funny on Instagram. And like just 100 times that in real life, because she's not afraid to do anything or say anything to anyone or look any certain way. Like,
oh, fuck.
Like, no matter what we're doing, she just doesn't care. And even at like Posty, she like made people take so many pictures of us being paparazzi'd like for 10 minutes.
Let me explain this one. Melanie really wanted, she really wanted to like get some pictures of us as if we were celebrities with paparazzi photos. I don't know. You know, when they cover their face with like sunglasses and a water bottle or something, she really wanted to get some good shots like that. And I was like, yeah, I got you, girl. Let's do it. Yeah. And so we made like AJ and I think someone else take a bunch of pictures of us, and it was good times. They turned out really good.
Yeah. No, I was going for like a Kimmy K paparazzi vibe. Kimmy K is always goals. But yeah, Rachel's really, really fucking funny. And especially if you just get her like one-on-one or in a small group, even when we have meetups with the OCA students, I mean, they get to experience her sense of humor and just how kind of like random it can be sometimes, but so funny and kind of just like awkward, but at like the perfect time. It's just amazing. So she's really fucking funny. She has a really great sense of humor. And I feel like we have a really similar like vibe. Like, I kind of get it. And she gets my weird. A lot of people think I'm like really weird, like kind of awkward, but you think it's funny. So my close crew thinks it's cool. So I'll just keep being me and you keep being you.
Well, thank you. I will do that. I'll do exactly that. And you guys have just kind of gotten a little tiny surface level taste of, the sense of humor that we share, which is just bursting out in laughter, making a bunch of mistakes, fucking up everything that we're saying, and just going onward anyway.
And keeping it really balanced between or keeping the line really clear between friendship and business.
Yes, very true. So obviously me and Melanie work together. We also hang out as friends. Like I go over to her house all the time. She comes over to my house all the time. I'm really close with her family. It's an amazing blend of personal and professional relationship. And I think that we do that very, very well. And I'd love to do a follow-up episode if you guys are interested in how to hire the right people on your team and, you know, how to make sure that your first hires, the people that you're bringing onto your team to take care of your baby, which is your business, are the right people. I have a lot to share on that because I've made some really, really amazing hires. I've also really made some bad hires and bad decisions. Not that it was the wrong person, but it was the wrong person for the wrong role. And so I'd love to give you some insight on that too, and have Melanie on for more of a segment on, you know, what her perspective is and working with me and how the hiring process went for her. So anyway, that could be a follow-up episode. Hit me up on Instagram if that's something that you guys want to hear. But with all that being said, thank you so much, Melanie, for sharing your story. You are the best, and I appreciate all the work that you've done and the chaos that you've endured through being with me for years now. And it's been such a blessing to work with you. And I'm here to just tell you that I see you and that I admire you so much for all that you bring. And I'm so grateful for you. And yeah, with all that being said, guys, we're going to sign off for the night. Thank you so much for listening, and hit Melanie up. She's at Melanie _Morton _.
Can I say goodbye?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, you can say goodbye. So that's it. Now, a goodbye message from Melanie.
I just want to say thank you so much, Rayray, for having me on the podcast. And sincerely, from the bottom of my heart, thank you for changing my life and just being such an amazing human, and for having me on your podcast. I love you so much, and I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Bye.
See you later, guys. We're out of here. I'm gonna go eat some Peach Rings Smart Sweets, sugar-free snacks, and catch you on the flip side. See you next Friday for Payday with Rayray. Bye. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and if you did find it super valuable, you just want to share it with the world, make sure you screenshot, post, and tag me on Instagram so I can stalk your profile and we can connect more. And to get notified on the next episode here on Payday, go ahead and subscribe to the podcast on iTunes so you never miss a beat. Get out there, secure the bag, and I will see you next Payday.